Let's be honest, flirting has gotten a bad reputation. When we hear flirting, we imagine cheesy pickup lines, awkward small talk, or someone trying way too hard. But what if I told you that the most powerful flirting doesn't look like flirting at all? It's subtle, it's classy, and it worked faster than any pickup line ever could. Today, I want to introduce you to the concept of invisible flirting. 3 psychological techniques that create instant attraction without ever saying, "Hey baby, what's your sign?" These are techniques that the most confident people in the world use without realizing it, and once you learn them, you'll start attracting people without even trying. Ready? Let me start with a question. When was the last time someone made you feel like you were the only person in the room? That's presence, and it's magnetic. Invisible flirting starts way before any words are exchanged. It begins with your energy. Don't be the loudest in the room. Be the most present. Make deep eye contact. Not creepy, not staring. Just intentional. Don't scan the room while talking to someone. Stay locked in as if what they're saying matters, because it should. I once coached someone who struggled with flirting because she felt invisible. Turns out she was checking her phone constantly on dates. Once she started putting it away and leaning into the conversation, even with strangers, people leaned into her. She didn't need to be loud or flirtatious. She just needed to show up fully. Presence is the quiet confidence that makes people wonder, what does she know that I don't? Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time someone looked at you and made you feel like you were the only person in the room? Seriously, think about it. It's rare, right? But when it happens, oh man, it hits different. It feels electric. Not because they said something magical, not because they were dead gorgeous, but because they made you feel seen. Like you mattered. That is presence. And in today's world, where attention spans are shorter than a TikTok, it's the sexiest, most attractive energy you can project. Let me break it down. Invisible flirting starts before you even speak. Before you make a move, it starts the second you enter a space. People pick up on your vibe instantly, often before you say a single word. And what they're reading isn't your outfit or your hair or your smile, it's your energy. You walk in distracted, nervous, unsure of yourself. People feel it. You walk in grounded, calm, curious, and present. People can't help but be drawn to you. Let me tell you a story. I once worked with a woman. We'll call her Sarah. Sarah was intelligent, successful, funny. But when it came to dating, she always said, "I just feel invisible." Now I watched Sarah at a party. You know what I noticed? Every time someone spoke to her, she was glancing at her phone, or scanning the room, or reacting before they even finished their sentence. She wasn't in the moment, and because she wasn't giving her attention, she wasn't receiving any. So we worked on one thing. Just one: presence. She started putting her phone away. When someone spoke to her, she leaned in a little. She held eye contact, not in a creepy, stare-you-down kind of way, but with warmth. She didn't try to say something clever. She didn't worry about being interesting. She just listened. Like what the person said actually mattered, and guess what happened? People started chasing her for attention. They felt heard, and that made them want more of her. Presence isn't loud, it's quiet, still, focused, but it's powerful. You're not distracted. You're not looking around for someone more interesting. You're here. When someone speaks, you actually listen. Not just to reply, but to understand. You hold eye contact. Warm, soft, with just enough intensity to say, "I see you." Your body language is relaxed. You're not fidgeting, you're not rigid, you're at ease. Presence says, "I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just enjoying this moment with you." And that's magnetic, because most people are used to being half listened to. Most people are used to feeling ignored, even on dates. So when you give someone your full, undivided attention, it lights them up like a firework. Now, let's be clear. I'm not talking about staring someone down across the bar like you're auditioning for a villain role. That's intensity. Presence is interest without pressure. It's the emotional version of giving someone space to breathe, while still holding their gaze just long enough to spark something. It's subtle. But this is the kind of flirting that happens in the background, beneath the words, beneath the tactics. It's invisible but undeniable. Presence is your superpower. It says, I'm enough as I am. I don't need a script. I don't need validation. I'm just here and I'm not hiding. And when you show up like that, people feel it, people trust it, and people want more of it. Let me tell you a secret. Attraction is born from a little bit of tension, not drama, not games, just that spark of unpredictability. Invisible flirting is about sending the signal, I like you, but I don't need you. If they make a joke, say, not bad, for a beginner. If they compliment you, say, you have good taste, I like that about you. This creates 3 effects. It signals confidence. It creates chemistry. It makes you memorable. Too many people try to win someone's heart by agreeing with everything they say. But the truth is, we fall for people who keep us on our toes. Think about the last conversation where you could have added a little edge. What could you have playfully pushed back on in a charming way? Make a mental note. That's your homework. People aren't drawn to perfect. They're drawn to playful mystery. Let's get something straight right now. Attraction doesn't come from being the nicest person in the room. It comes from being the most interesting. And interesting doesn't mean mysterious or hard to read. It means playful, confident, a little unexpected. If presence is the spark, playful challenge is the fuel. You see, so many people, especially when they like someone, fall into the trap of trying too hard to be agreeable. They laugh at everything the other person says, nod at every opinion, say yes to every suggestion. They basically become a reflection of the other person, hoping it'll make them more likable. And you know what it does. It makes you forgettable. Why? Because there's no friction, no energy, no tension. Here's the truth. Human beings are drawn to people who challenge them just enough to make them earn attention. Not manipulate, not play games, just make it fun. Let's call it charming resistance. It's that confident, flirtatious energy that says, I like you, but I don't need you. It's not about being rude, it's not about playing hard to get, it's about being playful in a way that raises your value, because you're showing you don't hand out your interest to just anyone. You're showing that you have standards, that you have a spine, that you're not waiting for approval. You're inviting curiosity. Let me give you some simple examples. If they say, wow, you're really funny, you say, took you long enough to notice. If they ask, are you always this confident? You say, only when I'm around people who can handle it. These aren't lines you memorize, these are attitudes, micro, moments where instead of just saying thank you, or melting into flattery, you play it back. Like tennis, a little push, a little pull. That pull is what creates chemistry. Now, let me clarify. This doesn't mean you should be sarcastic all the time or challenge everything they say just to be edgy. That's not flirting, that's exhausting. The real art is in mixing warmth with wit. It's the balance of being kind but not compliant, flirty but not needy. Let me tell you a quick story. I had a client who was tired of being ghosted after dates. She was smart, kind, thoughtful. But people kept disappearing. I asked her, how do you show up on dates? She said, I just try to be easygoing, go with the flow. That was the problem. She had no edge, no contrast, no bite. So I gave her one assignment. Start teasing just a little. Start disagreeing with confidence. Start giving compliments with a twist, and boom, suddenly people were leaning in, calling back, chasing her, not because she became mean, but because she became playful. Playfulness is emotional foreplay. It builds anticipation. It says, you're fun and I'm enjoying you, but I'm not here to entertain you. You've got to keep up. Because when someone feels like they're earning your attention, they value it more. People crave emotional stimulation. They want to feel something, not just be liked. So here's your takeaway. Stop trying to be approved. Start being a bit of a fun puzzle, give compliments, but also give challenges. Make it clear that being with you is a reward, not a default. Key line to remember: approval is attractive for a second. Intrigue lasts a lot longer, so go ahead. Tease, play, push back gently, keep them on their toes, because invisible flirting isn't about saying "I like you." It's about making someone wonder, do they like me? Are they into me? That tension. That's attraction in action. Let's talk about something subtle, something that's so powerful most people don't even realize it's happening. You ever had someone look at you for just a moment and you knew? No words, no flirtatious gestures, no overt signals, just a flicker, a pause, a certain way they looked at you, and you felt it in your chest. That is a micro-validation. It's invisible flirting in its purest form. The art of saying "I see you, I like you, I'm open to you," without saying a single word. Here's what makes this powerful. Attraction doesn't happen because of what we say. It happens because of how we make someone feel. And micro-validations hit on the emotional level that most people overlook. Let's break it down. Micro-validations are small, subconscious behaviors that signal connection. They're the emotional green lights that keep the flirtation flowing. You're not putting it all out there, but you're inviting someone to lean in. Here are some classic examples. A soft smile when they say something clever. A quick glance away, then back into their eyes. Leaning in slightly when they're talking, matching their tone, speed, or posture without even thinking. A subtle touch on the arm when you laugh, holding their gaze for just a second longer than normal. And here's the key: these things aren't loud. They're barely noticeable, but they hit on the level of instinct, evolution, chemistry. You're not screaming "I like you." You're whispering it with your energy. Let me give you a real-world example. A guy once told me, "I don't know what it is about this woman I met. She didn't flirt with me at all, but I couldn't stop thinking about her. When I asked what she did," he said, "she just looked at me in a way that made me feel like I was interesting. She laughed, not too hard, but like she actually got me. She didn't try too hard. She was just there and warm. Boom." That's micro-validation. It's not about being extra. It's about being intentional. You know what most people do when they like someone? They overcompensate. They compliment too much. They become too obvious. And unfortunately, that can trigger resistance. Why? Because the moment someone feels like you're trying to win them, it creates pressure. But micro-validations take the pressure off. They create space for curiosity. They say, "I'm here, I'm open, but I'm not chasing. I'm allowing this moment to unfold." This is especially important in the first few minutes of meeting someone, because before they feel attraction, they need to feel safe, they need to feel seen, they need to feel like you get them. Micro-validations are your way of building trust and attraction at the same time, without trying too hard. Here's a little exercise. Next time you're in a conversation with someone you're interested in, don't rush to be witty or impressive. Instead, play with your facial expressions, your posture, your eye contact. Offer that subtle nod when they say something smart. Let your smile linger a little. Let your voice soften when you ask a personal question. Those moments create emotional safety and spark intrigue. Key line to remember: the strongest flirting is felt, not heard. It lives in the unspoken moments, the glances, the pauses, the quiet validations that say, "You matter in this moment." So while everyone else is trying to be loud, flashy, or clever, you can master invisible flirting by becoming fluent in the language that truly matters, emotional cues. When you do that, you'll walk into a room, say almost nothing, and leave someone wondering why they can't stop thinking about you.